Hi there, this is Jane Butel with Chilies and Chilies, showing you how to make Bola Red, the most popular chili of all, the original chili. Here you see the simple ingredients. We have the chuck roast on your right, a little water, the pure Pecos Valley Spice Company mild and hot chilies, pure fresh Pecos Valley cumin, minced garlic, salt, lard, and chopped onion. The onion's kind of almost between a chop and a dice. This is chuck roast, which by United States Department of Agriculture definition is 80% lean. The easiest way to cut it is using a sharp knife, cut it in half-inch strips, and then take and cut the strips down into half-inch kind of like little logs, and then stack the logs of beef together like I'm doing here, and then cut them crosswise, and you'll soon have half-inch pieces of beef. Now, you might be asking, why can't I use hamburger? Hamburger just will not work as well in this recipe. This is a very straightforward recipe with the pure chilies, not that combination chili powder that's 40% salt on average. You just really need to have the hand-cut beef. So we're getting it cut. When you're cutting it, excess pieces of fat, like at the front there, I do eliminate. But the marbled fat inside the beef, I go ahead and leave it as it is. And you're going to want to use a heavy pot with straight sides and a flat bottom over medium-high heat to begin with to melt the shortening. I like to use natural animal fat, lard, bacon drippings, or butter. I'm using lard here. The original recipe was rendered down kidney fat from beef. So you just want to melt the shortening, get it completely melted before adding the onions and garlic. Now you might be questioning, why do we cook the onions and garlic first rather than browning the meat? And that's a very good question. If you were using hamburger, you would brown it. But if you're using the cube beef, you do not want to brown it because you'd end up with bullet stew. By that I mean the pieces of beef would be browned, which would eliminate the infusion of the chilies and spices into the beef because they wouldn't come in as well. Also, if you put a lid on the pot, it will steam the meat done rather than simmering it and breaking down the connective tissues, so the flavors are much better infused if you never use a lid. So that's part of the chili fitness plan. We use this medium heat here, but we're going to turn it off to add, whenever you're adding the beef and the chilies, you turn the heat off under the pan, and because again, you don't want to cook the beef, and furthermore, you do not want to burn the chilies. The same temperature that would be cooking the onion will actually burn chilies, and you get that blackened taste, which is not preferable in chili. And so now we'll stir that in a little bit. We add half the cumin. That's a real important thing to know, because a lot of times people like that cumin scent or edge to chilies, and so they'll add more as they get ready to serve, and they get too much cumin in there and it gets bitter. So add half the cumin when you cook it, half just before you serve it. And I don't add salt at this point. I wait to add the salt until I see if it really needs it, because some beef actually has enough of the salt in it, because cattle before market are given a lot of salt blocks. So here you see we've added the water, and we're just going to stir it. If you want to, you can sort of fancy it up a bit by using a red wine or broth of some sort, or beer, or some people even use tequila, and it's called housebreaking the chili. So here the chili has simmered for about a couple, 3 hours. When it turns red and velvety like this, it is done. And you just now we're going to taste it to see if it really needs the salt, and we've determined it does. So we're just going to add that salt and the last half of the cumin that we saved from when we cooked it. And you just want to simmer these flavors together just a wee little bit. And at this point, if you chose to, you could refrigerate this chili for at least a week, and it will freeze for at least 6 months. I freeze some in 1 cup and 2 cup amounts because this chili is great on baked potatoes. It's good in enchiladas. burritos. It's good at just any number of casserole dishes and has lots of flexibility. And this is the chili that won the West from the cattle drives. And here's the way I like to serve it with the mixed grated cheeses. This is the Monterey Jack and cheddar blend. And I like cheese, so I'm add a little more. And chopped onion. You might want to chop the onion a bit finer here than you did for preparing the chili. And then you're going to want to add some sour cream. And I like to use a little bit of a squish of a chili teased wedge of lime. You can see here, I think it just looks kind of pretty. And the lime juice actually tends to tame down the spiciness of the chili. So we're squeezing it on. And then we're just going to add a few more pieces of a different flavor of chili, which are the pickled jalapenos. Now, if you would like to get this recipe, you'll find the recipe is at the written recipes at the bottom of our Chilies and Chilies at janebutelcooking.blogspot.com.